the belief is we're all on a spiritual path, or it might be different paths, but we're all heading for the same place. So where are we heading? Where are we heading? Anybody? Where are you heading? Where are you heading?
Home, I hope.
Home, you hope. Where are you heading?
Home to God.
Home to God. Where are you heading?
To my true nature, to who I am.
Yeah.
To home.
To home. Yeah. Yeah. So, if I go south on Park Heights, and let's say home is this house, are we going to get there? No. So we have to make sure we have the correct map that actually is going to get us there, right? Real important. I could have a completely different, oh, no, they said this or I said that or whatever. Now, when we first start, are we advanced?
It's first level.
And when we first start, do we believe everybody's doing it the same way?
Yes.
Yes. So if I'm in or like, I'll just use my own experience with Baba, the people who first show up with Baba, first show up, are they going to be doing the same practice as the people who were advanced? If they're actually advanced.
Yeah.
No. It's going to be different. Very important to see that. It's going to be different. So, when we first start, what are we going to do?
Outward.
God is
So,
other.
God is other, and we're going to do outward activities. Correct? So, in the ashram, we did chanting, a lot of chanting, specific meditation, guru seva, doing work. We said mantras. What is that called besides first level?
Ritual.
Ritual. You made a great comment. It's the scaffolding. It's the scaffolding. So, in a lot of the stories with Kabir, what was his scaffolding? Weaving. He was a weaver. What would be your scaffolding?
The plants and gardening.
The plants and gardening. That's the point. That's scaffolding. Do you have to have everybody have the same scaffolding?
No.
No. So we're on different paths. You wear pink. I wear stripes. I use a mala. You use a rosary. I sit on the floor. You kneel. All kinds of things, right? That's the scaffolding. Is that the practice? For a lot of people, that is it. That is the practice. You follow all the rituals, you do it, all that thing. Yoga Sutras, yamas and niyamas, the do's and the don'ts, or the don'ts and the do's, the observances. What's it for? What's the purpose of this scaffolding? First level, 5 sentences. What's its purpose?
Discipline. A routine, a discipline.
Yes, absolutely. It calms everything in terms of a worldly sense down. Okay? So, bless you. So now we're here, and we're doing this scaffolding. What then starts to rev up?
Mind.
The mind. Second level. What happens?
Yeah, that.
Oh my God. I mean, again, as disciplinarian in the ashram, I would find grown adult men, mostly, it was interesting, it was mostly men, in the baskets under their beds, hiding from the chants, hiding from the discipline. People were hiding it behind trees in the upper garden. I mean, amazing. Amazing. Why? What does the scaffolding do? Again. To this, to the mind. What's the scaffolding do to the mind?
It helps it forces it to focus.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say that it is like a structure, and so the mind fights against that discipline of the structure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No different than elementary school.
The way it feels for me is it closes in on it.
Mhm.
You have that constant, and you've worked to know your first level, and then all this internal stuff starts just piling up.
Right, it shows the light, it shines the light on
And you
you.
then now know that first level well enough that you know it's not that.
Right.
So you need to look elsewhere.
Yeah, right. This is no longer, this didn't do it. We're not in bliss. Though at the beginning when people first start doing this, and a lot of people think this is all you do, and if you do it mildly, if you only do it occasionally and you then live your normal life, this is going to be very much it. This thing will start driving people crazy. I watch people like ejected from the ashram. Ejected, that's what it looked like. They were spit out. I gotta get to Bombay right now! I mean, literally. People would just eject. Couldn't stand it another moment. And what would happen is everybody's, whatever it was, would come to the surface. What is second level? Uses the mind. Thought fighting thought, says Saint Simeon. We're going to have this kind of, so if we look back, Yoga Sutras, we got the yamas and the niyamas, asana is again part of that scaffolding. Then we have pranayama, right? Pranayama, vital force, and then we go to pratyahara, the withdrawal of the five senses. We're starting to close in. We're just closing in on the, oh my God, I can't stand it. And what is happening to the individual at this point?
Getting the crumbs.
Hopefully, but it's getting attacked. A lot of people will think it's getting attacked. So are we still beginners? Yes, absolutely. We're still beginners. Should we be doing advanced practices? Probably not. Should we be doing things like Kashmir Shaivism and non-dualistic understanding? Absolutely not. Why not? Why not?
Because you think what you hear is real.
You think what you hear is real? You think what you hear is God? It's all God. We're non-dualistic. It's all God. So whatever I think, whatever I decide, whatever it's coming, it's the Shakti, it's the energy, it's the Holy Spirit, it's all God. It's all God. Yeah.
So when, like with affirmations and things like that, what, I guess the people eventually just say they surrender that it's not working, or they don't do it well enough, or what?
They're not doing it well enough in most cases. Different people, depending on where their denial is, to be perfect, it's their denial. They will still, because blind squirrel finds nut. So every once in a while, my affirmation, I found my parking space. I found that, I got that answer I wanted. So I will believe that, and then if I just do it a little bit more, if I do those things, if I say the Guru Gita 1,000 times, it's going to all happen. The mantras, the this, the that. It'll happen. It'll happen. And I'm positive thinking. I'm sitting here being positive thinker. Positive thinking. What's wrong with positive thinking? Nothing, as long as it's not running around being denial. If I'm committed and attached to optimism, or committed and attached to skepticism or cynicism, what's the problem? Attachment. So this thing is driving me crazy. Second level, Shaktupaya in Kashmir Shaivism. It's driving me crazy. What's driving me crazy? My attachments, my wrong understanding, my beliefs, my ideas. That's what's driving me crazy. So what do I need to be doing?
Dismantling all that.
Dismantling this. So I have a scaffolding here that starts to grind and focus me in on what I now have to work on. I then start working on this. I'm not ready for, I can't, no matter how long I've been doing it, if I have not, and let's say I am advanced and something throws me, because until you're done, we're not done. So something shows up, what do I need to do? Immediately, go back to the scaffolding. Use the scaffolding. We should not be attached to the scaffolding one way or another. I'm above and beyond the scaffolding. No, there's something wrong with the scaffolding unless, as St. Simeon says, we think it's the final perfection. It's not. It's important. It's useful to live a disciplined life. And everybody can have a different scaffolding. And that's what then says we're on a different path. No, I'm driving a Toyota, you're driving a Ford pickup. Are we still on the same road? Yes. Still on the same path. So then, if I've had something, I then have to keep working on this again. Keep bringing it back. Bringing it back. Okay, whoa, look at my thinking. And I do a Foursquare, I work with seed, understanding, anything of those kind of things that are going to help me clear my mind and see my attachments. Most of what we do in sadhana is what would we call this in the Christian mystical tradition?
Mortification.
Mortification, purgatory, purification. Most of what sadhana is, because sadhana is the removal of the impurities so that the gold is there. Correct? So, wanted to read just quickly, my new glasses. Evelyn Underhill wrote on page 226, when she's talking about the early stages of their education, there has to be, till the point is reached at which the changes and chances of mortal life are accepted with a true indifference. Talking about non-attachment, true indifference, and do not trouble the life of the soul. This established ascendancy of the interior man, the transcendental consciousness over sensitive nature, And when we talk about sensitive nature, we're talking about the sensing. The self in its reactions to the ups and downs and the manifold illusions of daily life is the very object of purgation. It is then almost impossible for any mystic, whatever his religion, character, or race, should escape its battles, for none at the beginning of their growth are in a position to dispense with its good offices. Neoplatonists and Mohammedans, no less than the Christian ascetics, are acquainted with the purgative way. All realize the first law of spiritual alchemy, that you must tame the green lion before you give him wings. Thus, in Otter's allegory of the valley of self-stripping and renunciation comes first. So too, Al-Ghazali, the Persian contemplative, says of the period immediately following his acceptance of the principles of Sufism and consequent renunciation of property. I went to Syria, where I remained for more than 2 years, without any other object than that of living in seclusion and solitude, conquering my desires, struggling with my passions, striving to purify my soul, to perfect my character, and to prepare my heart to meditate upon God. At the end of this period of pure purgation, circumstances forced him to return to the world, much to his regret, since he, quote, had not yet attained to the perfect ecstatic state, unless it were in one or two isolated moments. So, what do we have to do? We have to purify. There's no getting around it. We have to do purification. We have to detach. We have to let go. And so much of this, that second level, is that of purifying. First level scaffolding, it'll produce that. Because how many people resist? I'm not going to follow that diet. I'm not going to follow that schedule. I'm not going to do that. So that it's like closing in. We're closing in. We're closing in. And then that second level is just thought fighting thought. We have to purify. There's no way out of it. That's for each and every one of us. So somebody who read my book, Walking Home with Baba, had read my book and they thought, oh, all that stuff that Baba did with me and all my stories, which totally surprised me. I was absolutely surprised. They thought that Baba was abusive. I was like, wow. That would never have occurred to me, ever. But because they took a 2-weekend workshop, or they're in their little yoga class, because that's what they said they were in. They took yoga, and everything they did and who they were was absolutely perfect, just the way they were. So why was Baba doing all that other stuff? Why was he hurting me and tearing me down and doing all that? Was he tearing me down? No. He was helping me. He was helping me get rid of this. And let me just make it really, really clear. Every single day I walked in there, I said to him, take it off. Chop it right now. It wasn't like he just said, oh, I want to pick on you today. No, I knew what I wanted. I knew I needed that purification. I knew that without him, I was going to get nowhere. And that I needed to know what it was that I had to get rid of. Because if we just do, oh, it's going to be, I'm just letting go. I'm just letting go. Let's just let go and it's all lovely. No. What the heck did I let go of? I don't know. So by my working with Baba, he showed me every single day what I needed to let go of. He didn't miss a chance because I didn't want him to miss a chance. Because what's the prize? actually then get to be myself. Which, at this point, I'm not. The individual running around, not us, no, we're just little puppets at this point. Just puppets. So hopefully, I can withstand the purification enough. And I know, and this is why the study of the Yoga Sutras, as opposed to jumping in and doing Kashmir Shaivism, because Yoga Sutras, there's a difference between the seer and the seen. We're doing dualistic. It goes to, finally, Kaivalya, to oneness, but essentially, we have to start from where we're at. We need to admit where we actually are. And that requires the discipline and the awareness of how our minds actually work. And we can't just change the we change the outfit over here. I wear these cute little robes. And here, I now think good thoughts. If it was that easy, we'd all be just realized and we just go to the mall and have a latte. Okay, so third level. Hopefully this has gotten strong enough. We're strong enough. We understand. We're not running around resisting, fighting, all that. What's third level? What do we use? Yeah.
Mere orientation of the will. You just rest
You rest where?
in the heart.
In the heart. Where's the heart?
Center of your being.
Center of your being. Does that mean it's the center of my physical body?
No.
Is it the center of my emotions? Now there's a scary thought. So I go center of the physical body, right? That's how I started, because I'm still back at Greenspring, and now I'm and so I can't pretend I'm all the way up the road. Correct? So I have to start where I start, where the car's parked. I get in the car, I gotta start. So I go to the center of the physical body, where I what? What's the clue?
Experience.
Feel, where I feel, where I feel, where I feel. And we all know that place because, again, and I've done this before, nobody ever goes, I love you. Does anybody ever? Do you ever see this? No. We usually do, I love you. Why?
That's where we feel it.
That's where we feel it, and that's where it's coming from, that it works its way out to manifest. I love you. No. I love you. No. So we go to the center, the chest, to start. Then where do we have to go? The heart of the subtle body. Where's the subtle body? Inside. Cut you open? We're going to find it? No. And by the way, this is where chakras, it's like it's been so bastardized. Chakras, Sushumna, thoughts, all that, emotions, they're all here. Is that it? We're done? We're done here? No. Then we go again. Now where are we? Center of the causal body. Deep sleep state. Pure darkness. People usually get to here and they stop. Why? If they get to here. Why? Why would they stop here? It's quiet. It really is. It's quiet. It's peaceful. There's nothing. It's dark. But not until we get to here are we in our hearts. The witness of the 3 different states. They call this the Turier state, the 4th state, but it isn't really because it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's how we're heading. And that's where the heart is. So we have to go in and then keep working, boring. And by boring in, what level are we doing? 2nd level. We're working on using the mind, using our attention. We're talking back to goals. So now we're really, so this thing wants to do, I'm not going to go focusing on my heart. So what am I paying attention to? I'm paying attention to that. Am I paying attention to the heart? No. And that's 3rd level. So what we're doing is, remember what you were talking about, we're closing in. Now we're really closing in. Just only here. Only here. Only here. Here. I'm going to do here. Keep going back. Here. This goes back to now Yoga Sutras, Dharna. I can only bump, up, bump. I'm learning to concentrate. That's what I'm learning to concentrate. When I can stay here for more than 2 minutes, then what am I doing? Meditating. Meditating. Different kind, oh, well, we just do a different kind of meditation. I do different kind of meditation than you do. I look at flowers. No offense. I love flowers. But if I'm just looking at the flowers, and I'm outward turned looking at the flowers, what am I doing? I'm back to the scaffolding at the beginning. We're not doing the same path. We're not in the same place. We're not, this is not, you look at the flowers, I'm boring into the heart, we're in the same place. No, we're not in the same place. You have to, it's this. Nothing wrong with this, but this will lead to this. And if you really practice, this will lead to this, and then you go this way. That's the way it works. Did I make it up? No. Do all these books say the same thing? Yeah. Do all the traditions say the same thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just teaching you and showing things that I didn't make this up. It's not I'm not original. It's just the way it is. It's just facts. It's just the way it is. So, if we're going to do this, we first 5 senses, then we go in, then we keep bringing it down, now we stay there. And that's where the will just to stay there. No pressure, no working, will. And why do we say will? Will has to do with desire. Because what are we now disciplining? Our will, our desire to be what? Back home, to be with God. And then we just stay there. Does that mean we don't think? No. We think when we need to. Should we be thinking all the time? No. Not fun. Oh, not fun. So we just keep going in. Keep going in. then what starts to happen? If we are willing to face what we face when we turn in, and it's not always going to be easy when we turn and face when we first go in. There's going to be hurt. There's going to be whatever vibration that was sitting there for however long. But gradually, as we work and purify, it will start to still those vibrations. Those vibrations will start. And then what happens is there's a rasa, a nectar, that will start to go. Drip, they call it, and it just drips. And our job is to drink it. And that encourages us to be there. We get pleasure. There's pleasure. So that it helps us to keep going in. There's a sweetness. And then you keep on the trail and letting go. And so the results, or where we're going, is so much nicer than the individual that I have been so attached to. How many people really, really enjoy their individual? Not the best, sorry. Interesting, but not the best. So the more we let go of that individual, the more we just keep on going in. Then our nature, which is in fact love, manifests. Now, are we still at other? Yes, we're still at other. Until when? We let go of the whole thing. So we just let go. And we're just pure subject. Is there any difference at that point between anything and us?
No.
No. And that's when we're home. Now, when we're completely there, are we going to function? No. No. But can we then manifest? Yeah. So then we return and enliven our vehicles that we now know are not us. And they manifest what? Love from our true nature. That is the goal. That is where we're heading. Is that where you're heading? Is that what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I want. So the problem is I have to let go of everything that I'm attached to. Does that mean I have to get rid of my rugs? It means I have to not be attached to my rugs. I have to not need them. I have to not need my individual opinions. Does that mean that I'm going to be an idiot? No. Some people think that. No. Not at all.
I'm an idiot now.
I wrote the other day, we all have to at some point accept that we're the village idiot. Once we get to be the village idiot, then we can move on. So it's just accepting where we are. So I'm the village idiot. Cool. Somebody's got to do it. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to be it. And then we can let go. But if I'm attached to being the village idiot, then I'm not the idiot. So we have to keep on letting it go. Letting it go. And not do denial. This is what I have. Oh, well, I'd rather have this. You know, we've been working on these 4 squares on our love thing. And it's like, you look at, well, I don't want to do conflicted. I want to do this somebody else's. I want to do, I don't know, rejected or stepped on.
That's mine.
Yeah. You can't have it. Mine.
Hey, that's mine. Give it back.
That's mine. That's how I love. So these we're wed to. If we don't do these, then we're going to have to love. We won't love anymore. Our job is to let even those. I'd rather have nothing than this. But if we're not ready to let go, do not let go. Do not pretend to let go. That's big part of sadhana, is know where we are. I'd like to be able to just say, oh, wow, I'm pure subject. It's fine, it's all fine. Woohoo. But I have attachments. If I have attachments, I have to admit, okay, I have attachments. I'm okay with that. This is what I have. I'm still attached to this. I'm still attached to that. Here I am. It's okay. It's okay. Pretending that I'm somewhere that I'm not is worse than just having attachments. You're not practicing if you're pretending to be somewhere else. You went into the woods. You got off the road if you're pretending. Got off the road. We all have them. We're here. We all have physical bodies. We're not just like, when none of us are Jivan Muktas. Yet. But we know that it's possible. We know that's what we want. So what do we have to give up in order to have this as our goal? What do we have to give up? What do we give up? At least to be here.
Yeah, everything but God.
Everything with God in order to get to there, yes. But yeah,
I was
ahead.
gonna say just your ideas and your vibrations
Mhm.
and
We have to at least have put our individual in its proper place.
Our belief that we're it.
Has to have been put in its proper place. Isn't it interesting in history? What was it they called it? I think it was the Enlightenment is when the individual became more important. Isn't that a oxymoron? It wasn't the Enlightenment, but that's human. When we took the human became more as the center than God. Is that one of them?
Well, yeah, it's often put that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere Renaissance Enlightenment.
Yeah. So that's in order to want to go back home to be union with God, we have to have somewhere been willing to put our individual in a less than the be all end all. So in this culture, are we going against the flow? Yes. Western culture, and this is where there's a lot of conflict, because Western culture promotes the individual. So even if we're going to look at psychology, we look at education, we look at the yoga movement, what's it all promoting? The individual. Did it used to promote? Education used to promote the individual?
No.
No. Who was important? Why did you have to have a teacher when you were studying?
Because we didn't know.
Because we didn't know, we knew we didn't know, and what did the teacher do? What was the job of the teacher? Besides to educate.
Teach us how to learn.
Teach us how to learn, but also to show that they were the experts and we weren't. Now everybody, 4-year-olds are experts. Have you seen that? I mean, everywhere. 5-year-olds, experts. And then the first graders, the parents to the first graders, to the first grade teacher, you hurt my son's feelings because you told him he didn't know this.
Mm.
We laugh about it, but this is what we've got.
Yeah, it is what we've got, and I want to. I'm not jumping too many steps in logic here, but my Sericard once said that if you see a fork in the road, only one of them is correct. And the difficulty that I'm in now, and maybe other people are in the group, is that I live in a culture where, you know, what 4-year-olds have to say is important, and they're getting it from some source or other. And then I come here on Saturday afternoon and I'm following another tradition. And that's and those things are not compatible,
Mm-hmm.
those two ideas.
Mm-hmm. So can you function in this environment knowing the truth? Because we're knowing the truth. Can we function knowing that, you know, even around in an environment where the 4-year-olds are as smart as we are? It's hard, but we can. The thing is, do we have to go advertising? No. Do we have to? Can we educate if that 4-year-old without smashing them? Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I did with my kids when they were little was they would want to go in a particular direction. So they would want to go that way, let's say. And so I would go with them that way, and then I'd walk them around to where I wanted them to go. So you want to go there? Sure, let's go there. And then we go this way. So I didn't tug them to where they needed to go. I gave them, sure, we'll go this way. And then I got them to go where they needed to go. And that's how, in a lot of ways, that's what we have to do in this culture. Because we don't want to hurt it. We can't offend. We can't say anything. I do. I say, I'm totally out there. That's why I'm only going to have, I'm not going to be the most popular person in the world. But the fact is, for your situation and for so many people's situation, it is difficult because you're sitting there and you're seeing an entire culture. But Baba told, and then I want to tell the story of Baba said to me, and it's in my book, where things were really bad for me. And it's the story about the 10 men that go on the pilgrimage. And they go on a pilgrimage and they get to the place of pilgrimage and they say, oh, let's take some vows. Let's vow something. So they vow not to eat fish and not to drink alcohol. Okay, great. So then they head on home. And the first place they come to is a fishing village. And they're hungry. They're all hungry. And somebody says, let's go eat some fish. And because that's all there was. And one of the guys says, but we took a vow. We took a vow. And the others say, yeah, but nobody will know. So they all eat the fish except for that one. He didn't eat the fish. They then move on. They go to the next village and they're thirsty. And of course, all that there is to drink is a drink called toddy, which was alcoholic. And they said, let's get some. And that one same guy says, but we took a vow not to drink. And he says, oh, nobody will know. Nobody will know. So they then head on home. They drink, except for that one guy, and they head on home. They get home, and remember, it's 9 people drank and ate the fish, and that one person didn't. And they get on home, and before anything can happen, the 9 say, we took a vow not to eat fish and not to drink alcohol. He did it. He broke it. He ate the fish and drank the alcohol. Is anybody going to believe him? No. And so Baba said, the majority always wins. That's what he said. This is reality. The truth prevails, and the majority always wins. You don't like it? Get over it. Because that is the way it works, isn't it? So, Max, there's your answer.
It's a tough path.
But you learn how to walk it, and it's okay. You can learn how to walk
Well, I
it.
suppose that's what he meant by when he says, I give you what you want so that you'll want what I have to offer. He sounds like he was a grand Aikido master where you just sort of wait for that movement to come and you follow it.
Yep. Yep. And so that's for all of us. We have to know. So we need to be appropriate. We need to be appropriate, and we know who we're dealing with. Again, if I'm attached to being right, if I'm attached to telling it the way it actually is, then aren't I inappropriate a lot of the time? So I have to, it's a question of being appropriate and not being attached. If I'm attached, then I have to give that up. If I'm adamant about it, then I have an attachment somewhere.
Would you advise me to accept the role that I'm waking up this week to the fact that people give me roles, and would you advise me to accept the roles that they give me?
Actually, Bobby used to say, if you see me as a clown, I'm a clown. If you see me as a wise man, I'm a wise man. If you see me as a saint, I'm a saint. Because if I'm fighting all the time, the role you put on me, then I have somewhere an attachment. So you want to see me that way? That's fine. You want to see me that way? That's fine. I don't have to take it on, but I can accept it. I don't have to wear it. I'm just going about my business. You think that. Just as the person who read, I just expressed my stories, and they're going to see it the way they're going to see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a very subtle difference, and it seems like it really gets to the heart of the matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, is this clear? Clear what practice is? So, again, not a horse race. I do first level. I do third. Somebody else does third level. We're not going to end up in the same place. Not a horse race. Second one, not a horse race. This way. One leads into the other, to the other. So, if I'm actually practicing here and I've reached here, am I going to have the fight with this one? No, I'm not going to even, no. Lovely that you're doing something. It's great that you're doing something. And if I'm practicing here and something happens, for sure, I'm going to do this and I'm going to use this. And let us very clearly not pretend that we're just, oh, I'm just here, I'm advanced, no. We're all doing purification. And we can't avoid it. We can avoid it, but eventually we have to face it. It's just the way it is. No matter what tradition. Because that's the path. So if we take away, does everybody wear, pretty much everybody wears clothes, but you got to take care of yourself. It's like you start looking at what's the essence of all the paths. And ultimately, you're going to come to the same thing. It's the same thing. And that's the path. The outside scaffolding, there's going to be scaffolding, but different that's not difference, just, it's gonna be some kind of scaffolding. There's gonna be some kind of having to purify and get clear with the mind. Have to purify here, have to purify here, and then everybody have to purify the will and move in. And just, I do a different path, so my heart's in a different place? No, the heart's where the heart is. That's just the way it is. It's really, really simple. It's not easy, but that's what it is. And so the mystic tradition of every tradition ends up doing the same thing. I'll have different jargon, I'll have different things, but it's all the same. Clear? So let's take a few minutes, dig in, go in. See, the scaffolding at this moment, outside scaffolding, people are sitting cross-legged. Somebody else can be sitting some other way. Somebody can have a shawl, somebody else can have a blanket, somebody else can have a sweater, somebody else can have a robe. It doesn't matter. Mentally, stilling. Where's the focus? Focus is to the heart. Into the heart. Let it go. Let anything that keeps us from being in the heart, let go. Keep going in. Keep our attention. And then clicks in the will. Thank you.